Frédéric is working at the French National Energy Agency, ADEME, and he will talk about a very structuring public policy in France that is about to be implemented, called the French Decree. Frédéric, Olivier, please, move on.
Hello, everybody. I hope you can listen to me. Sorry for the technical problems. So I'm Frédéric Rosenstein from the building department of ADEME. So ADEME is a French state agency involved in all energy and environment topics except nuclear and water management. So I'm going to present you the last French regulation on the tertiary sector named Éco-énergie tertiaire. So slide 2, please. Okay, so slide 2, why do we need national requirements on the existing building tertiary sector in France? So slide 3. So the building sector is one of the key sectors to be targeted to fight against global warming. In 2018, it represented 46% of national energy consumption in France, nearly a quarter of greenhouse emission gases, and it represented close to 1 billion square meters. And this surface grows yearly more quickly than in the residential sector. It accounts for more than 1/3 of the energy consumption of all the building sector in France. So slide 4. So this new regulation has a general objective to reduce the final energy consumption of the existing tertiary building stock at the national level for all buildings subject to the obligation of at least 40% in 2030, 50% in 2040, and 60% in 2050, compared to a reference year of 2010. This regulation was introduced after a long process by the law named ALDREN in 2018, which is a significant legislative change. Indeed, it is an obligation on energy-saving actions, not limited only to work on buildings, but extended to all actions to reduce the energy bill, quality and operation of equipment, user behavior, etc. Plus objectives set by decade with a strong commitment from the first decade. So the obligation is expressed in final energy on all the energy uses, and we are waiting a second decree before the end of the year. So slide 5, please. So which buildings and premises are concerned by this regulation? So slide 6. All what is not from the primary and secondary sector is considered as tertiary sector. So many types of buildings and premises are concerned, commercial or non-profit activities, public or private owners, and different activity sectors as it is precise in this slide, so commercial buildings, office buildings, educational buildings, and so on. Both building owners and tenants must comply with energy saving requirements. So slide 7. All the existing buildings at the date of publishing of the law in 2018 are concerned with an area over 1,000 square meters. So the adopted general principle is to integrate the entire tertiary sector into the tertiary eco-energy system in order to ensure equal treatment, group dynamics, and the obligation is established at the level of buildings, part of buildings, or set of buildings. There is only a narrow scope of exempted buildings such as churches, defense building, civil and internal security. So slide 8. So the key principles of this regulation, slide 9. So the situation of tertiary actors with regard to this general objective is different depending on either some have not yet implemented actions to reduce their consumption, or others have already implemented actions in this area. But the reason why the first actors will move toward the so-called relative value objective, and the second will seek to achieve the so-called absolute value objective. So the relative value objective is to achieve a reduction in the final energy consumption of the building, but at least 40% in 2030, 50% in 2040, and 60% in 2050, compared to a baseline in 2010 or after 2010. The level of consumption expressed in absolute value is defined by decade in order to take into account the best available techniques and taking into account as well the particularities of each category of activity, and where applicable as well regulatory changes like if constraints, air treatment, etc. Slide 10. So this is to illustrate both options. For example, in the case 1, if the energy baseline in 2010 is quite high, so for example 200 kilowatt-hour per square meter, the absolute value could be precise in the next degree, for example at 50 kilowatt-hour per square meter. So it will be more interesting to reach the relative value defined by the reduction of 40% in 2030. In the second case, with a quite efficient building, if the energy baseline is, for example, 60 kilowatt-hour per square meter, the effort to get the absolute value will be a reduction of only 10 kilowatt-hour. And to get the reduction of 40%, the effort will be a reduction of 24 kilowatt-hour. So in this case, it will be more interesting to choose the option of the absolute value. So all the action, next slide, slide 11, sorry. So all the action levels can be used to achieve these objectives, these targets. These actions do not all require large financial investments, but all contribute to reduce the energy bill. So improve the energy performance of the building through the building envelope, for example, install high performance equipment and control and active management devices, service equipment, but as well optimizing the use of equipment and as well working on the behavior of occupants. So this regulation set an obligation to reach a result of energy savings compared to a baseline. The building owners and tenants are free to implement any means to reach this target. That's the reason why tools such as energy performance contracting should accelerate their development with this regulation. So slide 12, please. So energy saving targets can be adjusted in case of technical, architectural, or patrimonial constraints, in case as well of changes in activity type, taking into account the evolution of volume of activity. And as well, they can be adjusted in case of disproportionate economic effort and impact of the action plan. So slide 13, please. So there is a platform named Operat, which is operated by ADEME. So the annual consumption data from the year 2020 must be sent to this platform before September 30. So each owner or tenant of tertiary buildings subject to this obligation must send every year information to this platform. So slide 14. Operate is used by the state to control what the persons implement the regulation on their building. But it is as well a tool for persons to monitor, verify, benchmark their buildings. So the building owners or tenants must declare to operate the definition of a baseline of the year 2010 or after, their annual consumptions, and in return operate provides automatically a certificate of consumption compared with targets. There is an automatic weather adjustment via the degree days and a possible adjustment with the intensity of activities indicators. There is an interoperability with energy monitoring tools of building owners or tenants, so that there is a facility for data transmission. So slide 15. Operate will be used as well to display annual results for employees and the public, and certificate generated by Operate could be used within sale and rental documents. So owners and tenants will have in their contracts to specify the sharing of responsibilities to reach energy saving target of the building. So this will contribute to develop a green value in the real estate market. So in this regulation, of course, there is a control and sanction system, and the principle of name and shame in the case of the tenants or building owners do not get the target. Slide 16. So just to describe information resources, so slide 17. So this is the list of the references about this regulation, so the official text, law, decrees, and arrêté. And the last slide, a list of information resources, so that you can find at the website of Operate. Frequently asked questions. It's only in French, of course, and a guideline will be soon published to explain how to implement this regulation.
Thank you very much, Frédéric. Thank you very much for sharing this state of development for this policy and the criteria policy in France. Yeah.